Hiya friends, Prepared Suburbanite back at you. I got a couple of emails after I did my most recent video about my hobbies, and as you know, one of my hobbies is photography, and the questions were to take a little bit deeper dive into the camera equipment that I do have. So I thought I'd do that in this video, and I also want to talk about New York State. So stick around. Okay, so let's get into the photography equipment right up front. I am using right now to record this video a Canon T6i that I up-traded from a Canon T5 that I picked up at a local store that came with the kit lens and a telephoto zoom lens as part of the kit. And I took that camera because it really wasn't exactly what I needed to do YouTube videos. So I up-traded that to the T6i. So it went from a T5 to a T6i. And the big difference, I think, between the two cameras is the fact that you can hook up an external microphone to the T6i. And that has been a lifesaver for me. So as far as the kit lenses go, I've got on this one right now that I'm using to film right now is the 18 to 55 millimeter zoom, and it also came with that original purchase came with a 75 to 300 zoom, which I use frequently for kind of zeroing in on birds and flowers and stuff like that from a little bit of a distance. So that works out pretty good. I also picked up a 35 to 70 millimeter zoom from Canon, and a rummage sale purchase that I did, and that I've recorded a few videos on. The only thing about that one is when it adjusts for autofocus, it makes noise, and it whirs, and I have to figure out a way to drown that noise out when I'm editing videos. Let's see. Also, I picked up the Sigma 150 to 600 millimeter zoom lens that I use pretty much exclusively for landscapes, wildlife photography, birds, that kind of stuff. And it's been a lot of fun to learn how to use that. Very sophisticated piece of equipment. Wasn't too awful expensive, maybe $800 or $900, but it has paid for itself just in the enjoyment and learning experience that it brought with it. So like I said, I've got recording on this one is the Canon T6i, coupled with that Sigma zoom lens, the big long one. I've got another Canon T6i that I picked up used from a local camera shop, and that has been a godsend to have a dedicated camera body for that particular zoom, and I can get the settings just right for what I want to be doing with that particular lens when we're out there doing stuff. When I first started in YouTube stuff a number of years ago, it's probably been almost 6 or 7 years now that I've been doing YouTube videos. I started out with a Canon Vixia HFR 600 camcorder, and that seemed to work out pretty well. It was adaptable. You could use external microphones with it and all that, and it seemed to work out pretty good. It had a very wide zoom, I think 57 times zoom, that you could use to really zoom in on stuff that was like way far away. And I up-traded that to the Vixia HFR 800, which I use almost infrequently now. But it's a good backup, and I have used it for B-roll kind of stuff, backing up, putting pictures up here, and little video clips and stuff like that. So also picked up the Osmo, the DJI Osmo Action camera. It's the little tiny one that I use for a lot of B-roll stuff, and I've done full videos using that because it's handheld, it's very tiny, very small, and very easy to maneuver. It's a little tricky to use. Once you get used to it, it's not too awful bad, but it's kind of weird to learn how to use it, but it works pretty well. It has an awful lot of features. It does 4K videos, it does slow motion, it does tracking, does a lot of different kind of functions. You can take regular still pictures with it and all that. So it's been a nice addition to the arsenal here for all my cameras. One thing that's been a bane, I think, on any YouTube channel are microphones. And I've been through way too many microphones already, trying to find the right kind of stuff without going bankrupt, because you can spend hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars on microphones, and that just doesn't quite always work out the way you want it to. So what I zeroed in on is the Takstar SGC 598. It's a shotgun mic, and I've got it mounted at the top of my camera here, and I've got a number 2 that I use that's a little bit older, but it's the same model. And just for insurance purposes, you know, 2 is 1 and 1 is none. I do have a spare brand new one that I can use, because they're not as rugged as you want them to be. And I ended up knocking my camera over one day and busted the dickens out of the one of the Takstar microphones on it, and that's kind of the way that goes. As for a backup, I do use a Konica CVM WM 100 Plus. It's a lavalier setup that has got 2 transmitters, 1 receiver, all plugs in, pretty easy to use, so you can interview people sitting next to you and all that. So there's 2 tracks that it'll record, and that's been pretty helpful when my wife and I get on and do a video together. We can each have a microphone, and no interference between the 2. Works out pretty good. So that's my camera equipment. I use PowerDirector 365 for my editing software, and I find that it's a very reasonably priced editing software. It's less than $100 a year, and it does everything I need it to do. So that's kind of a great thing if you're into doing YouTube type videos or creating any kind of video content for any place you may want to post it. So that's my my camera equipment and setup. So at the beginning of this video, I said that I'd wanted to talk a little bit about New York State. And as many of you know, I was born and raised in an upstate New York city, small city called Elmira, and lived there my whole life up until probably 1989, I think. And we moved around a little bit here and there, one of the suburb areas and stuff like that. But generally, our headquarters was Elmira, New York. And I had a job opportunity offered to me in 1989 that took me to New Hampshire. And one of the reasons that I was truly tempted to leave New York State, and if you know anything about Elmira and the upstate area, it's a beautiful, beautiful country. We're right in the Finger Lakes area, and just absolutely beautiful countryside. And we have two prisons in my hometown. The Elmira Correctional Facility, which used to be a penitentiary, reform school kind of a thing. And they built in the 80s the Southport prison. And that was maximum security facility. And it held some pretty notorious types in that prison. And what happened during the 80s was that the state changed its prisoner release policy. And what they used to do, guys would, or gals, I guess, would finish their sentences at either the Elmira Correctional Facility or the Southport Prison, and they would put them on a bus and send them back to their hometown, which was usually somewhere in New York City. And they changed that. And now what they do is just open up the gate and say, see you later, bye, and folks stay in my hometown. It changed the dynamics, it changed the mix, it changed everything about my hometown. What would happen is I'd be doing 2 to 5 years for whatever. He's from Brooklyn, and his wife and his kid would move up. They'd live in the projects, and they'd go visit him every time they could at the prison. And when he got released, they just opened up the gate and set him loose, and he moved into the projects with his family, and he'd stay. And the crime rate started going right through the roof. It was absolutely terrible. There was a lot of economic issues going on in the 60s and 70s and early 80s in that area. A number of area employers started closing down. Ann Page Food Processing Plant, the Westinghouse, Bendix, U.S. Steel, all those which were kind of the lifeblood. Remington Rand was part of that. They just closed down and moved out. See you later, bye. And unemployment went right through the roof. So we had a nasty combination of high unemployment, this prisoner release policy, and it was no longer safe to walk the streets in my hometown. And that's why I left. And now looking at what's going on in New York with the lawsuits and federal state actions against Donald Trump and his organizations, absolutely criminal, I think, what they're doing to him. It's purely election interference. I don't think that the case, the Alvin Bragg case, this whole thing with Stormy Daniels and the conjured up set of charges, I think there's 34 felony charges that they've identified, and they're pulling Donald Trump off the campaign trail, making him sit in a courtroom. They haven't quite yet refused him to go to his son's high school graduation, but I suspect that's coming, and it's a travesty. And I am truly glad that I have left New York State and have absolutely no desire to go back. I've no family left there. My sister lives here in the next town over. My cousin has moved to Pennsylvania. My parents and grandparents have all passed away. So there's nothing anchoring me to go back there at all, to even visit. So I am glad that I have left New York State. And I think Dan Bongino said it best in his one of his recent podcasts, and I'll put up what he has to say there.
Get the out of New York ASAP. Get out of, I don't know how many times I got to say this. I'm telling you this as a New Yorker. I was born in New York and raised in New York, Glendale, Queens. I love you. However, get out of New York. You live in a communist police state.
And I have to agree with what he just said. That's an amazing statement. Get out of New York now. That's it for me. This is the Prepared Suburbanite with an update on my Camry equipment and my thoughts about New York State. I'll see y'all on the next video.